Families who are left to deal with the loss of their loved one.
We can't change is what has happened. But what we will do, we will reinforce with our last breath the legacy of my son.
Cecil Lopes can't understand why anyone would take the life of his teenage son, Cecil Lopes Jr., a victim of a random drive-by shooting and one of New Bedford's 7 homicides last year.
It's tough to see the community in pain, the parents in pain, the families in pain. It is heartbreaking, yes.
New Bedford High School patrolman Stephen Taylor knew Lopes and many of the teens who have been murdered in New Bedford. He and other officers say guns have become too accessible.
The .40 caliber semi-automatic, that's the gun choice for the street.
Lieutenant Richard Spurlett says police are doing all they can. In fact, the number of shooting deaths has decreased since 2003.
We feel it's getting better in the sense that we're taking a lot of guns off the street. We're really putting a heavy emphasis on the street.
But that, of course, will not bring back Cecil Lopes and all the others who have been killed by gun violence.
Something has to be done to stop this vicious cycle of young life being lost.
I think the million-dollar question is, where are all these guns coming from?
Or why teens are killing teens.
Not really as much as a gang issue. It's more like rivalry, like neighborhoods, neighboring areas where people like to, hang out or whatever and just judge each other just because of different areas.
With guns so easily accessible to teens and one too many falling prey, many now turn to community programs to find help and hope to face the odds. We introduced you to Youth Build already, where these 5 teens found a way to escape the violence.
When I leave these doors, I try to stay safe.
Third Eye is another successful youth-run program. It saved Zena Torres, who admits her teenage years were full of rage and confusion.
It's a vicious cycle. It's one that you never know. Don't know when it's going to end.
Now, there's people here that if it wasn't for this group, might be robbing, doing whatever. Instead they're buying studio equipment and having their own studio.
And put on their own cable shows and concerts, all aimed at getting teens to say no to drugs and guns.
Take all that frustration, all that anger that you have towards your friends being killed or the people that are killing your friends, and just letting it all out in a constructive, well manner, as opposed to going out and doing something violent.
But there are simply not enough of these successful programs, which means the gun violence may never end.
But we can't give up on our young people, because where will we be without them?
Things are quieter, but I'm not going to rest comfortably on the fact that things are better.
As for these 5 teens, they've made their mistakes.
I slacked a lot, I'll admit it, I slacked a lot, and I regret it though, I really regret it.
But now they know what they want to do.
Just successful, I have my family, have everything that I've always wanted. I always wanted to be a fashion designer.
5 years, I'll probably see myself with my own business, a house, probably married or something. I might be working with construction. I want to move cranes and stuff like that, big stuff.
As for the families who lost loved ones, the fight to get guns off the streets continues.
We're not quitters, and we'll never give up.
Now, the Lopes family has set up a scholarship fund at UMass Dartmouth in honor of their son. If you'd like to make a donation, send it to Cecil Milton Lopes III Memorial, care of UMass Dartmouth Foundation, 285 Old Westport Road, Dartmouth, Mass. 02747. In the coming months, we'll be keeping a close eye on to see how this problem with gun violence in New Bedford is going, and we'll see these programs like Youth Build and Third Eye is making a difference. I can tell you, these kids are changing.
I was going to say, I'd like to see a follow-up, maybe even a year from now, to see where these kids are.
They've learned a lot, and they said a lot, and you can tell it came straight from their heart, and they're trying to get their lives in order.
Yeah, well, there's 5 of them right there. That's the good news, definitely.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned for details.
And artists wielding spray cans, usually cause for concern, but not at an award ceremony that's raising cold hard cash to support a youth group. Keep it here. Comcast News 9 is back in just 2 minutes. Most of the time young people get in trouble for expressing themselves through graffiti art. But at an awards dinner last night, that graffiti is used to raise money for a good cause. Dozens of people turned out to the VFW post on Appleton Street in New Bedford, each of them taking turns bidding on these graffiti paintings. It's all part of the annual Third Eye Unlimited Awards dinner to raise money for their 6th annual festival this July.
I like this type of artwork. I think it has a tremendous urban influence. I'd like to be supportive to the artist and to the organization here that's putting on this event.
So this is what we're about, basically. Everyone coming together, seeing, conversing, uniting, communicating, and appreciating art and talent. You know what I mean? And that's what we're doing here.
Third Eye Unlimited formed 7 years ago out of a love for hip-hop music. Now the group provides a safe way for rappers and other teens to express themselves and reach out to thousands of young people through a television show and projects year-round. Last night its event pulled in about $3,000.